Don't get chipped. There may be a lot of advantages presented to you in getting chipped, but it may be at the price of your freedom. You might not even get the job you want if you aren't chipped. That's why we are presenting to you free training on how to generate your own online income, giving you choices. I'm Lee Romanoff, president of IncomeActivator.com, and we, the people, are taking back the internet and giving you back control. I invite you to watch this video produced by Christopher Green of AM TV. His presentation style is very hard-hitting, but the information is good, of which you may wish to consider as the option of getting chipped rolls out. With that in mind, here's Christopher Green.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Christopher Green of AMTV, Alternative Media Television. Today's broadcast will be unlike anything that you have ever witnessed, ever heard of before in your entire life. And it's not necessarily that this information is new, because it's not new. What's changed is this is rolling out for the first time in human history. In thousands of years, this has been predicted and prophesied. We've known that this is coming our entire lives, and now, like a freight train, it is hitting all of us right in front of our face, and it is clear that the time has arrived. Man is now merging with machine. Man is now becoming robot. Man is now becoming a digital cyborg, a separation from what it means to be human to where a human being becomes the computer, becomes the artificial intelligence, realizes that mark. Now, this information, I'll be honest, I've been sitting on for over a decade now. I've known the truth. I've been privy to it. But I understood that the public wasn't ready to hear it. Because it sounds so outlandish, it sounds so crazy, it sounds so insane at first glance that you'd be immediately written off as a conspiracy theorist or somebody who had literally lost their mind. The American people and the people of this planet have been conditioned by so many things, I don't even have time for it on this broadcast. The intent of this broadcast is to warn you, and please share this, get it out to your friends and family, like it, put it across every social media network that you can think of, because in the coming months, they will be starting public clinical trials of the mark, the chip, the beast system. In fact, it was just announced by Elon Musk not too long ago, just a couple of weeks ago. He announced that they will start impregnating these microchips into human brains next year, 2020. This isn't something we're thinking about in the future. No, this is happening absolutely right now. But here's what the American public doesn't know. Okay, here's the bombshell. Here's what's going to be hard for a lot of you to grapple with, to fully understand. Your knee-jerk reaction is going to be, nah, that can't be true. It's a conspiracy. I've got to write it off because it's just a bit too crazy. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to get to that in a moment. Keep in mind, it was crazy to suggest we were merging with machines 10 years ago. It was crazy to suggest to the public that they were going to be taking a microchip and putting it in your brain 5 years ago. And then it was crazy 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year. And now it's just what they're doing. Okay, just like the New World Order was a conspiracy, but now it's just blown out wide in the open like AIDS, right? Like HIV. It's just, hey, this is what we were always going to do. So what's been happening and what's been going on behind the scenes? What have I, and just a select few people around the world, what have we known that no one else has known? But it's so crazy, it's so top secret, it's so heavy duty intelligence that, like, even if you say it, people don't believe it. But I really feel now is the time to go public with this, to drop the bombshell, because I truly believe that the American people are ready. These billionaires, folks, and these tech elites have already merged. Did you hear what I just said? They've already merged with artificial intelligence. This isn't a new development. This happened many, many years ago. Long, long time ago. They've already tested the technology on themselves. They're already chipped, folks. You understand what I just said there? That's the truth, by the way. These people are already chipped. They've already merged with the artificial intelligence. They are the AI. All these companies that you're familiar with today, these tech super giants, this Orwellian web, this dictatorship, this central authority, this Borg, it's already here. These people have taken the mark, have merged with the machine, and they've been predictively programming, leaking this out to the public for years that, you know, artificial intelligence is a good thing, and then they've written books about it, like The Singularity, and, oh, this will be a life extension thing. It's going to be so great for humanity, folks. It's going to be amazing. It's going to have, provide a cure for Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and they're going to use it for all these good things. But what they're not telling you is that this is the master control system for your life. This is the central authority and the Borg that you could only imagine in your worst nightmare, because it's a control infrastructure, and all of this ties in together, folks. It's the control infrastructure for the new grid that they're putting out worldwide. This new system of total and absolute control. It ties into your smartphones. Notice how they got you addicted on that first, and then it moved into the wearables, right? Then you're going to put, the Apple Watch there, and right, there's a reason why the Apple logo is a bite out of the forbidden fruit, quite literally. I mean, they're not hiding any of this stuff. Satan puts his message right to the American people and the people of the world so everybody can see it, because that's the easiest way to deceive people. You just put it right out wide in the open. Okay, you take people like Elon Musk, you put them on a Joe Rogan podcast, you get them smoking a bunch of pot, and people think it's cool to merge with the chip. What they don't realize is they're being sold a lie. They're being sold their own slavery. These same people, folks, ladies and gentlemen, this should be a bombshell of a lifetime. Again, no one else in the world is going to tell you this. It's already happened. It happened over a decade ago. I have the information. I have the knowledge. I've been privy to this top secret code. These people have become the robot. They are the AI. Like a death by 1,000 cuts, they roll this out slowly and methodically. They bring the whole... Where do you think the internet comes from, folks? It's DARPA. Come on. It's DARPA. We know that to be factual basis and truth. Right? It's created by the government, the U.S. government. Why? As a control system. As a grid. If the grid ever went down, they'd be able to communicate during times of conflict, during a Cold War or World War or a SHTF scenario. And so that's what they've been building. And then you have all these tech elites. They come out of nowhere. You notice how that happens? We're just supposed to believe that they're geniuses, right? They come out of nowhere. They're just, right? Mark Zuckerberg and all these guys. They come out of their dorm rooms of Harvard and all these no one's ever heard of them before, but suddenly they have the largest market capitalizations in the world. Just by accident, right? It's just allowed to happen. Right? The U.S. government just allows Facebook to become Facebook. The U.S. government just allows Google to become Google. Right? Allows Amazon to become Amazon. Yet people still can't connect the dots. For example, I can't even count on one hand how many people actually know that one of the largest sources of revenue for Amazon, for example, is the CIA. In fact, Amazon didn't even turn its first profit until they did a huge deal with Central Intelligence. Fact. I can't even count on one hand the people that I know that actually know, for example, Eric Schmidt, former head of Google, actually works for the Pentagon now. Look it up for yourself. Just go to the DOD. He's the head of the Defense Innovation Board over at the frickin' Pentagon. Yet I can't even count literally more than one person on one of my hands that even knows or is privy to that information. For example, they don't know, for example, Mark Zuckerberg is a part of the deep state infrastructure. These people just didn't come out of nowhere. This has all been pre-planned methodically. And they've rolled this out to the American people, the brainwashed American sheep, very, very strategically, very, very systematically, and very, very methodically throughout the years. And while all this has been going on in the background, while they've been building the smart grid nightmare of our future, which is here now, and that should be the most shocking part of this video. Look, I am not a conspiracy theorist telling you they're going to merge your brain with a machine. They're already doing it. They've already merged, and the clinical trials for the general public start in 4 months. You've got to be kidding me. If you're not awake now, you deserve the wrath that is coming. You deserve to be in prison in your own self-fulfilled hell for the rest of your life. You deserve the mark then. Ignorance is not bliss. It's death. No one will ever tell you that. It's absolute tyranny and it's absolute death. These people have merged. They've already taken on these robot superpower-like qualities. Okay, it's predictively programmed in everything, whether or not it's the Matrix, which was the first of the predictive programming to basically put that idea into your head that at some point you'll be plugged into a simulation. Now it's gone full circle. I mean, Elon Musk talks about it publicly. He's like, yeah, in my opinion, we are in a simulation. And see, that's going to be their sales pitch. This is what the sales pitch is going to be. Once you take the chip, you're going to have superpowers, is what they're going to say. It's like a childhood comic book. They play down to your dumbed-down nature. Oh, you're going to have superpowers. It's going to be so great. You're going to plug into the internet. You're going to be a robot. You're going to, you'll have access to Wikipedia and Google, and you can, run through your social media feed. It'll be so amazing to be connected at all times. You'll be a genius. You'll be like, these people that you only read about, like Einstein. Of course, they know most of you, not my audience, but a lot of the people out there don't even read books anymore, which is why they're digitally altering our complete history. So, how is this not the most shocking thing that you've ever heard of? So, let's go into some specifics of what's ahead. So, Elon Musk comes out just about like a month ago, says, yeah, clinical public trials start soon, just in a couple of months. They're going to interlace your brain with this company Neuralink. So, basically, they're going to take a robot. They're going to burn a hole in your brain. They're going to take the freaking micro-threaded threads, which are smaller than a gnat's ass, and they're just going to wire it into your brain like no big deal. I mean, guys, this is not a big deal, right? Taking a chip, put Mark of the Beast, just, take it to your brain, and here you go. And if you don't take it, you're going to be a monkey, is what they'll tell you. You'll be an ape or an ant, or like Steve Wozniak, who I've met in person, says you'll be like a dog, so hopefully they don't kill you. Right? I mean, if you don't take the chip, how are you going to make money? If you don't take the chip, how are you going to participate in society? Hey, if you don't take the chip, you won't be able to play your favorite video game. So again, All of this is connected. And by the way, if you're not already aware, that's what 5G is. 5G is the digital infrastructure. It's the communique. It's the communication network for the smart grid, which is basically going to control you through the hive mind and the central authority. Because once they got you chipped, brother, it's over. You're dead. You might as well be. Because you're eternally separated. Eternally. For the rest of your human and spiritual existence, you're finished. You know, I could go down this rabbit hole so far. People, they're just not ready for it. I mean, I've literally had to wait a decade before I go public with this because people would have written it off. They can't believe it. It shatters the reality. They can't handle it. Christopher, don't tell me this. It's a conspiracy theory that they're going to chip our brains. And then last month, Elon Musk just says, yeah, we're going to chip your brains. No big deal. And everyone accepts it. See how that happened? The sheep accept their own slaughter. They literally accept their own death camp. They seriously accept their own concentration villa. It's sold as a beautiful experience. Get in line, folks. Get in line. Get your chips. Get your chips. It's kind of like selling peanuts or something. Peanut, get your peanuts. Get your chip. Get your microchip. 20% off today only. Get your microchip. Put it to your brain. Accept your own spiritual death. Limited time. So this is rolling out in a very real, significant way. But what you need to understand, see, that's not even the bombshell of this story. I mean, that'll be a bombshell for some weak-minded people, but for the tough-minded people, what you need to learn and accept, because it's not my opinion, it's the absolute truth, these people have already taken the darn chip. Okay, people like Jeff Bezos, chipped. Elon Musk, chipped, my friend. Mark Zuckerberg, chipped. Sergey Brin, you know, the Google Glass founders, chipped. No, not the Lay's potato chips. I'm talking the mark of the beast. I'm talking the digital chip in their brain. What do you think these people aren't going to test it on themselves? Come on. What do you think they're just rolling it out to the general public now and they're not going to access this stuff themselves? Of course they have. What do you think Ray Kurzweil and all these people are talking about? It's why they control the world. It's why they control the universe. That's why their pet projects like Blue Origin and others are more important in Jeff Bezos' own words than the Amazon e-commerce company. Because that's what they're really working on, folks. And everything you see in your day-to-day existence is a lie, it's BS, and it's a total and utter illusion. You know what the latest one is? And I've heard no one talk about it. No one. Not a single darn person. You know what the biggest illusion recently? This is just one of many, by the way, millions that I've studied over the course of a decade or longer. You know how the Amazon's allegedly burning right now? You don't think that's a conspiracy? Oh yeah, it's just a convenient narrative for all those Hollywood celebrities, right? Oh, the rainforest. 20% of our oxygen levels will be gone forever. Oh, the Brazil president, he's such a nationalist. He's so terrible. Oh, we really need a global one world solution to that problem, don't we? Get it? You understand? It easily just comes right into the hands of the same controllers. Well, we're going to need a global one world order solution for this Amazon fire. We're going to have to bring every country in the world together for the sake of the planet. So look, the Amazon isn't burning. They lit it on fire. You probably haven't heard that before, have you? They lit the thing on fire intentionally. Why do you think you have people right now like Leonardo DiCaprio? He's a good actor. I'll give him that. But, the same guy that burns a ton of CO2 emissions and jet fuel on his private jet. There's a reason why he's a big talking point today. I guess he just donated a measly $5 million. Wow. Oh, that's huge. Doesn't he make like $5 million a second? So he donated $5 million to, help put out the fires. In fact, I think that there's been $25 million raised thus far, which wouldn't even fuel probably more than 2 jets full of water if they were really trying to put it out. Point is, they're not trying to put it out. It's all propaganda. It's all a lie. There's a documentary film, I can't remember, it's a climate change film, which is featured with Leonardo DiCaprio. Ha! Oh, isn't that interesting? Not really, because all these people work for the deep state. The list goes on and on. George Clooney, Amal, all these people are assets. Just like the Overstock CEO came on camera, but the mainstream media ignored it just last week and said he worked for the deep state. Yep, he worked for the deep state. Low-level corporate CEOs like Patrick Byrne worked for the deep state. That should just be one clue that there's a lot more people that you're familiar with that work for the deep state. Hollywood elites, politicians, bankers, tech elites, it's all part of the same club, and you ain't in it. Who told us that? George Carlin? Rest in peace. Rest in peace. You're probably rolling over in your grave right now. So let's get into the nitty-gritty details of the rollout. I'll dig into more about how these elites have already merged themselves. Of course, that'll give them a distinct advantage over all of you rats as they look at you, right? Just a bunch of peasants of these elites. You know, one question I asked myself when one of the Koch brothers died is who inherits his senators? Right? Like when you're a billionaire and you die, who inherits all the politicians that you own? Alex, do you know? Yeah, I don't know either. I'm not really sure. It's something curious, though. You know, like where do those politicians go that you have in your back pocket? You know, the ones you bought off and paid for? Where do they go? Whether or not it's the Koch brothers or George Soros. Like when George Soros, passes on, where do the politicians that he owns go? Like who owns them next? The son? I'm not really sure, but it is a pretty good logical question. So let's just dig in this right now. Expect to take the chip. Public clinical trials are coming in less than 4 months by 2020. Of course, the elites have already merged themselves. This is the AI. Now, if you watch some of the public videos that have been put out by Neuralink, and I've been talking about this for years, but the general public, see, they don't believe me. They'll only believe Elon Musk when he looks you dead in the eye because he's already merged and is like, you're going to take the mark, bitch. Then they're like, oh, wow, did he just say that on Joe Rogan? And people are like, well, I don't know. He seems like a cool guy. What type of ganja is he smoking? Seems like a nice guy. I'll take the chip too. It'll be cool. I'll get to play my first-person shooter video game with the mark. Right? Sounds like a good time. I mean, can you imagine porno too in like 4D? That's got to be kind of crazy. These people probably think, right? You put the chip in there, but no one asks the question. So look, if they take a chip and they put it between synapses, right? It's the size of a neuron, and they literally neuralace your brain. And then they hook it up, okay, and they get it in there so that the chip is between basically the synapse that thinks about a decision or an action in between the thing that actually creates the action. Is it possible that they can just kind of control you through that synapse? Like, is it possible they'll just send you the information that they want you to see? Is it possible that they'll convict you of a pre-crime? Right? What if you get like a dirty thought in your head or something? They're like, alert, 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 emergency broadcast, throw this guy in jail. In fact, you could be driving one of their well, you're not going to be driving because you're not allowed. That's going to be illegal in the distant future. Another deep state project Elon Musk is responsible for. By the way, there's a reason why he gets billions of dollars in government contracts. Look, I understand people think he's cool. That's fine. I'm just telling you the hard-hitting truth, the hardcore truth. You'll be riding around in your self-driving car because it's going to be made illegal to drive. They're going to say it's much safer for the board to control all driving. It's much safer and economically viable and all these kinds of things. And while you're in your self-driving car trying to get to you're not going to have a job at that point because the robots will take over. So I guess you'll be driving your car, liking dumb social media posts while you receive your universal basic income straight to your smartphone. But then you might look out the window, okay, see an attractive young lady, and maybe you get a thought that just shouldn't be there. All of a sudden the doors lock. Okay, emergency alert is sent to the database, and you're taken to jail. It's called pre-crime. Don't think that could be too dangerous. Don't think that could cause an uprising. Don't think we want these people in line. So let me explain how they're going to sell this, folks. Again, they're going to sell to your base, dumbed down, childish ego. It's going to be awesome, guys. It's going to be so cool. Listen to this. You'll have superpowers. You'll be like so much smarter than the rest of the race of like human beings. It'll be great for your quality of life and lifestyle. It will just be incredible. See, what people don't understand, this is actually what the agenda of transgenderism is. I'm going to drop another bombshell just because I can, and I'm in the mood today. Transgenderism is just another arm, another tool of the elites to deconstruct your reality, to get you used to the idea of, guess what, body modification, right? I mean, if you can choose what gender you are from day to day, whether or not you're one sex or the other sex, depending on how you feel, they get you used to that because, again, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. They want you used to the idea of body modification. Why? Because they're going to put a chip in your freaking brain. That's why. So they want you to get used to the idea that anything goes, right? You can modify anything, your sex, your gender, your race, your politics. Notice how, and again, the deep state doesn't care about your rights, okay? They don't care about any of that. This is their agenda. So it's rolling out now. The microchip is rolling out. It's already been rolled out. Elon Musk says it's very important, about 3 minutes into the video, that you have the option, he says, of merging with AI. It's so important that you have the option. Isn't he a good guy? In fact, we'll have to look this up. Is Neuralink getting any funding from In-Q-Tel or the deep state? They must be. If you're not sure who In-Q-Tel is, In-Q-Tel is that's basically like a venture capital arm of the deep state. You know, people like Peter Thiel. I even like some of these guys. I think he does pretty good things for libertarianism and liberty. He's one of the few tech guys that, helped get Trump in and these kinds of things. He was outcasted by pretty much everybody for doing that. But, these are the same guys that their biggest companies no one really understand or know about, like Palantir. Like Palantir is a deep state surveillance operation, right? It makes billions and billions of dollars every single year. I mean, these are the companies and the things that these guys are really working on. So these tiny little hairs, these tiny little threads, 1/10 of a human hair, will be wired very intricately to your brain because you're no longer going to be a human being. You're going to be a robot. And they're going to sell it to you like you're going to be superhuman, but in reality, what they're going to do, here's the reality. The only people that are going to be superhuman are Elon Musk. You think they're going to give you the same short code? You think they're going to give you the same programming as themselves? No. They're going to get the upgraded programming. They're going to get the billionaire's treatment. Okay, the billionaire's bubbly champagne, so to speak. They're going to give you what's the 40-ounce trash people drink on the streets? That's going to be yours. You'll be subhuman. They're going to be superhuman. They control the Borg, which ultimately controls you. You're the battery cell. And also, if you don't believe me about this transgender thing, because it ties into the transhuman agenda, if you don't believe me about that, just take a look at the two Matrix directors. Both transgenders. That's not a coincidence, folks. Okay, that's not a coincidence. Okay, these people are privy to the predictive programming, the information that the state wants to get out there to the general public about the simulation. It's not a coincidence. They go hand in hand. There's a reason why both of these directors went from dudes to chicks overnight. Because the transgender movement has nothing about empowering people. And by the way, I have nothing against transgenders. Do what you want. I do not care. I believe in liberty and freedom for all people. I'm sure we have transgenders tuning in, and you're more than welcome to tune in. But you need to understand this is much part of a bigger agenda. An agenda of transhumanism. An agenda of which these people play their own God. An agenda of which these people have already, and this is the bombshell of today's video, merged with the machines. Because why wouldn't they? You think Tony Stark isn't going to try the cocktail on himself first? I'll be honest, if I was in their shoes and I was taking the mark of Satan, I would. Why not? I would love to have limitless power over the groundling peasants. I'm not saying that's something that I would do. I'm just putting myself in their shoes. I mean, if I worshiped the devil and Satan, and I was worshiping evil and the low vibration, of course I would take the mark. I would take the chip as soon as I could so that I could dominate the worthless peasant groundlings. So why wouldn't they? That's why they have. It's why it's already been done. What are the brothers' names? Wachowski brothers? Yeah, they're working on a new Matrix film, by the way. And we see this in predictive programming. I'll go on a brief tangent here. Predictive programming in all types of media. In fact, there's another Netflix program, they call it programming for a reason, called Altered Carbon. It's cool, very interesting concept, but basically what they're putting into action now, like the idea of Neuralink, is what they're showing you in the program. So basically you have your programming, a sleeve, right? It's like a chip. You have your chip, and that chip can be plugged into other bodies, which they call sleeves. So the elites and the billionaires, the soon-to-be trillionaires, never die, right? They just build new sleeves, and they take their programming, their microchip of consciousness, and they plug it into the new fresh body anytime they wish, and they live forever. And if you're broke and poor, you get the crappier sleeves, or you can't afford a good sleeve, right? Or you get the lower programming. What they don't tell you is that they have this planned in our very real reality today. So they're rolling all of this out right now, folks. This is the bombshell. It's being rolled out. Clinical trials start in the next 4 to 5 months. They've already begun. I can only assume that they've been working on cadavers, and also they've been working on themselves, right? This is why the elites would take the chip and they would take the mark and merge with AI. Plus, you got to understand, in another 10 years from now, see, a lot of you will probably think what I'm saying is crazy, which is fine, but I'm right, and I'm privy to the information, and I know what I know. I don't really care what you think. In another 10 years, people like Elon Musk are going to come out publicly, this is my opinion, and they're going to say, hey, by the way, guys, I am AI. You see, we're not that bad. I merged with the machine 10 years ago. We just didn't tell anyone about it. See, I'm a good guy. It's a slow indoctrination. They can't just hit you over the head right away. That's like coming out, like all of a sudden you turn it on CNN, they're like, hey, we're going to take your guns today. Right? There'd be probably a little bit of a pushback. I mean, that is actually what they're saying now. But, again, they've got to predictively kind of systematically work this into the system over long periods of time so it doesn't sound so crazy. So in another 10 years, these people are going to come forward. People like Jeff Bezos, the guys that have already merged, Elon Musk and others, are going to tell you just that. Yeah, we've merged. See, we're not too bad. In fact, machines deserve rights too, just like humans. This is all very, very, very real. It's, like the movie iRobot. So these people are already chipped. They're going to be testing it on you. Hopefully the tests don't go wrong. Wonder what happens when you get a virus when you're chipped. Do you just die? Maybe your brain just starts bleeding to death. It's minimally invasive, though, Elon said. Minimally invasive. These are very small threads, folks. It'll be like getting LASIK. But if a virus comes or something, or you get one of those like spam bots that pops up on your computer, your brain will bleed to death. No big deal, though. They've got it under control. Just like they have social media platforms under control. If they don't like your speech, they just take a crap on you and flush you down the memory hole. They can all be trusted, folks. Trust those self-driving cars right as they drive you off a cliff. They're so trustworthy. I mean, if we learn anything from history, and I'm obviously being sarcastic, if we learned anything from history is that we can trust our dictatorial rulers. There's a lot of people that trusted Mao, millions. That's why they're no longer with us. A lot of people trusted people like Stalin. And that's why the millions of people that trust him are no longer with us. They're in a trash heap of death, of democide, the number one killer. So this is not new. Like for you, those of you out there, I have a lot of new subscribers. You don't realize I've been doing this for a very long time. None of this is new. What's new is I'm revealing for the first time these people have already taken the mark. They've already been chipped, and that's just what's happened. That's the new part. And by the way, they just made an announcement. Just go listen to Elon Musk yourself. The public trials start in a couple of months. So I don't know. I'm personally kind of expecting Jesus to come out riding down from the cloud pretty much any second now. Because this stuff is getting pretty darn heavy. Also, these chips in your brain. Get used to this, kids, because, and I'm referring to your kids. For those of you out there that think you're going to escape this, you're like, well, Chris, I'm a baby boomer. I'm 55. Like, I'm glad I'm not going to have to be around for this. Well, what about your children? Because they're not going to have a choice. The good news is, though, all of this will be controlled and completely wireless, Elon Musk says. So the good, and again, it ties into the 5G stuff. You understand why they're putting these towers in every neighborhood, city, town, even in rural areas. Not only is this the global infrastructure for the smart grid, it's the global infrastructure. Hold on, I got to get these declassified documents here. Here we go. Yeah. See, I actually still read for a living. It's pretty incredible. I know most people don't. It's really tough to hold an attention span longer than a freaking goldfish. That's actually true, by the way. Most Americans don't have an attention span longer than a goldfish. But here I am looking at a declassified report from the Pentagon titled Electromagnetic Defense Task Force. This was the report in 2018. I actually did a big piece on it. It's absolutely huge, but it basically discusses, here I'm flipping through the pages right now, it's hundreds of pages. I've actually read thousands and thousands of documents related to this, but basically the 5G system is going to control the smart grid, and it's also going to control you, because how do you think they control the chips? Elon Musk just told you this, guys. It's completely wireless. Why do you think they're doing the 5G rollout? Why do you think Donald Trump, through an executive action, just revealed the Space Force? Why do you think Elon Musk, you know what his other pet project is? He's putting in all these satellites up in outer space. I wonder why that is. Well, that's because he's going to control the simulation, along with the state, along with the government. You know, you get these friendly faces, the people that the American people, especially the millennials, trust. Like, who doesn't like Elon Musk? I admit I like him too. He seems kind of interesting. People, I mean, that's how they're going to sell it to you. It's called a wolf in sheep's clothing. All right? You know, they don't just like roll the devil out and have the devil tell you to take the chip. No, they do it with a smile. They do it with whitened teeth, pulled up in a limousine and blasting off rockets during his free time. That's how they roll it out, my friends. Come on. They think you're stupid. Well, let's be honest, a lot of people out there are. That's how they've gotten away with it this far. And for those of you that are awake, that actually know the truth, that almost you kind of look at it and you go, well, Christopher, I don't know what to do. Well, what the heck are we supposed to do? It's a good question. What are we supposed to do? More importantly, what are you going to do tuning in when they tell you it's the mark or death? Yeah, I'm sorry, Bob Jones, but we're going to have to put this chip in your brain, otherwise we can't hire you. Because you're dumb as an ape otherwise. What are you going to do? Take the chip? Or, hey, man, like playing video games? Wait till you check out this one, man, with the chip. It's pretty dope. It's pretty cool. What you going to do? Take the chip? Hey, want a girlfriend? Too afraid to go out and meet one in real life? Just put this thing in your brain. You'll have one. She'll be your artificial intelligence girlfriend. It'll feel just like the real thing, and there's no chance she'll get an STD. Are you going to take the chip? Oh, this is so dope, dude. I can go watch the World Series where it feels and looks real and sit in the first row in the box seats, and all I have to do is take the chip? What are you going to do? Take the chip. Oh, man, it's so much easier to make money once you've got the chip. I hear all the big tech firms are hiring only people with the chip. There's better benefits that you're going to get with the chip. In fact, people that have the chip in their brain, they statistically make more money than those without the chip. So what are you going to do? Take the chip. Take the chip. You see the trend here? Unless you want to be a homeless guy in a street corner holding a sign that says, lost everything but my faith, Jesus Christ is King, you're going to take the freaking chip. So I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of you tuning in say you're not going to take the chip, but you're going to take the chip. You're just going to take it. Because your option is going to be death if you don't take it. And when push comes to shove, a lot of people are going to choose the easier path. I'm just being frank. Again, I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm not here so that you like me. I'm here to tell you the truth. Also, really good news. This is something that Elon also revealed. Your microchip in your brain will be controlled by an iPhone app. Isn't that wonderful? What's really great about that is we know Apple can be trusted, so that's good. They'll have the chip in your brain, and it'll be controlled by the iOS app. Yeah. So if you're just coming into the broadcast now, clinical trials are starting for the chip, for the microchip, the mark of the beast, starting next couple of months. This was what was announced by Elon Musk just about a week or two ago. Of course, these people, and you can rewind to the beginning, they've already taken the mark, folks. They've already merged with artificial intelligence. Also notice, this technology will be used to bring people back to life. Right? So what is the transhuman agenda? The transhuman agenda is that these people want to become their own gods. Right? It's called life extension. They want to live forever and ever and ever in infinity where they never age. This was depicted in other great novels like Brave New World. And so one of the ways that they could do this is basically turn your synapses back on. Right? If they've downloaded your consciousness, what many of these individuals have already done, again, they've already chipped themselves, they've got a copy. Okay, so they've got a copy of your consciousness, and they can use that to plug you into different sleeves. And then they can turn back the biological function of what the human body is back on. You see how this works? They take the consciousness, they put it programmed on a disk. They take it out, and then anytime that's needed, they pop it into the back of a cadaver, right? Or an artificially grown cadaver, which is what they're more than likely doing already. And they're going to pop that into the back, right? Right into the back of the skull, turns the synapses on, and as Elon Musk said himself, 1/10 the size of a human hair, you got these extremely tiny threads that are carefully, they've got to use a robot to this. It's like LASIK, but it's going to thread into your brain. Pretty amazing stuff. I mean, I'll give it to them. It is pretty amazing technology. It's surprising they moved this far. And it's not a coincidence. Again, Elon Musk talks about the simulation, thinks it's likely that we are in a simulation. Again, his promise to you is going to be that taking the chip will free you from the simulation. Like, guys, look over here. You don't know what you're missing. Wait till you get the chip. You've been in a simulation this whole time. But you take my chip. I wonder how they can finance the chip. You know, this thing's at least got to cost $1 million or more. I would say minimum. $100-year mortgage on the chip, right? It's like, you know, an easy trillion payments, because you'll be living forever at this point, right? So they'll keep you on the negative 0% interest rate payment plan. It'll be like 1,000 years. Each month, they debit the credit out of your brain. If you don't, they just kill you and slaughter you right there, because again, they've got the chip in your brain. They'll do whatever they want with you. Imagine how they could torture you with the chip, right? They're just like, you know, let's torture this political dissident. They could literally just torture you to death. Like, it literally is the most Orwellian, scary, crazy thing that I think anyone could ever think up. Isn't it interesting that this is in the Bible some 2,000 years ago? Like, literally, if you look in there, it's like, oh yeah, rich and poor will both take the mark. No one's escaping it, and whoever has the mark on their forehead or their right arm will have the mark of Satan, will die and perish into a fiery pit. People are like, Christopher, the Bible isn't relevant today. I guess it looks pretty relevant to me. It's literally what they said in the darn thing, and now it's actually being rolled out to the general public. So, seems pretty relevant to me. I mean, it does say the chip, basically, in the Bible. And what are they talking about now? The chip. Again, it's going to be sold as a good thing. So, let's dig into this a little further. Now, this all ties into the social credit scoring system that I talked about earlier today. Again, if they don't like you, I don't know, maybe you're Republican or Christian or Jew, white, black, male, female, transgender, what have you, they'll just put you on a blacklist. This is what the new social credit scoring system is that Silicon Valley is rolling out. You know, the same people that are going to chip you. It's kind of their way of putting you on the crap list if you fall out of line. Right? If you're not on your knees 24/7, you know, doing you know what to these bastards, they'll, you know, tank your social credit score. And by doing that, they can control you, because then you can't board a plane, you can't ride a train, you can't get a mortgage, you can't take out a bank account, you won't be able to have access to internet, you won't be able to play your video games you like, go watch movies, right? The way that they're going to dictate that experience and to keep all you rats in line is this social media credit score rollout. Because, I mean, dude, like, you don't want to get on the bad side of these technocrats. I mean, geez, man, if you got on the bad side of these people, they just off you, like the Godfather. So this is what the social credit system is. What's brilliant about it, and honestly it is brilliant, is that it'll self-regulate itself. Let me explain this to you. You will be reporting on your own neighbor. Don't want to be associated with Alex. He's on the social credit score blacklist. I'm not going to hang out with that guy. He's like hanging around like a stink bomb or something with, stage 5 cancer or something. I don't want to get the disease. I don't want to hang out with Bob. He's got a really bad social credit score. So it'll self-regulate itself because that's human nature, right? Pick on your fellow humans because we do such a good job with that as we just tear each other down, right? It's like we have plenty of resources on this planet, but we just take it all for ourselves and then let the great majority suffer. Human nature. So this will be a self-regulating, self-perpetuating system of social control. This is what's so amazing about it is the tyrants won't even have to enforce it. You're going to enforce it. In fact, people are going to take pride, like kind of like your school hall monitor. Hey guys, did you see my good social credit score? I'm such a good slave that my social credit score is like a 750. and I got a really good deal on my mortgage. My car payment is lower than yours because I have a really good social credit score. Right? You're going to have like the social hall monitors of the social credit scoring system. In fact, when I was in Southeast Asia, every time I crossed a street, it took a picture of my face, scanned it, and within the system said Christopher Green, this is who this guy is, pulled up all my social media profiles, my credit, what I was doing in the area, and then it fed it into a national database of which the premier over in China, Mr. Xi, took a look at it, right, as he was smoking his cigar. I said, should I let this guy cross the street or not? Those are the systems that have already been rolled out, and they've already been rolled out here in the United States of America. It's happening now. Again, that's what 5G is. It hooks up the smart grid. It's why Bill Gates is building a smart city out here in Chandler, right? It's kind of in and around Chandler, I think, where he didn't even spend that much money on it. He's like, I think he acquired it for a couple $100 million or something. So this is the end of the human being. This is the end of humanity, and it is the kind of like the launch. Isn't this exciting, guys? I guess I should have retitled this video. Congratulations! The launch of the Beast system is here. Take the chip. So this is all rolling out, and of course, it's a little bit of a work in progress, but the point is, this is not just happening overseas. I mean, all you have to look at is Hong Kong. Hong Kong. Yeah, in fact, if you want, go ahead and hashtag. You can hashtag Hong Kong Strong. I want you to go do that right now. Because right now, what the Chinese government is doing is they're bashing these innocent protesters' face into concrete. Knocking their teeth out. All in the name of social control and social credit scores. And all these people, it's why they're wearing masks, know they're being put into a federal database. A lot of you probably just don't believe me, and that's fine. Again, I'm not here so that you like me. I'm not here because it's a popularity contest. I care less about that. What I care about is getting the truth out because, frankly, that's what I've been instructed to do. And I'm going to do that. But if you don't believe me, let me just give you an example of this. So, let's say you want to take a vacation. Airbnb, one of the largest companies, has all of the listings for said vacation homes. But you've been blacklisted because you've been a bad little boy. You've been a naughty little boy or a naughty little girl, and you've been blacklisted because they just don't like you. Airbnb shuts down your account. Who are you going to rent from? There's no other options. And here's what's also interesting about it. Airbnb is technically a private company, but they've shut you down. And if you read their legal documents, they don't even have to explain why they do it. Driving cars is going to be made illegal in your lifetime, probably in the next 5 or 10 years. That's why they're rolling out these Teslas at a steep loss. And it's another reason Elon Musk gets all these, I call them bailouts. The government calls them subsidies. I call them bailouts because the last time I checked, no one was giving me $5 billion or or whatever it is a year to run my operation. We have to do it all ourselves. It's called capitalism. But, imagine yourself in the future not being allowed to get into an Uber, but it's the only form of transportation. But they put you on the social credit blacklist because they don't like you. Maybe you're a Christian and they've decided to ban you because they don't like Christians. Maybe they've banned you just because you're a woman. I can go back to the transgender thing a little bit. Notice how the latest government operation tramples on the older government operation. So let me give you another example of this. And again, this is not discriminatory. I'm for all people. I support women's rights. I support transgender rights. I support all of that. I support freedom. I'm just giving you an example of how the state does what they do and how they trample on their previous operations, because the transgender movement is a government-led operation to get you to question what you are, so that they can eventually body modify you into a transhuman. Trans, so you get it? But notice how it tramples on the previous government ops or government operations. So let me give you an example. Notice how the big government operation for many of you baby boomers of the past was the feminist movement, right? Feminism. Even if you go to bookstores, they're selling like feminist books to children. Like if you go to a Barnes & Noble, there's like a special section. There's books titled like Woke Baby and like My Mommy's a Tranny or something like that, just different books like that. But let me give you a more specific example of this. Let's say you're a woman who's being beat by your husband, right? Every Tuesday, he comes home and beats the crap out of you, so you're living in a halfway house to escape this, violent bastard. But at the halfway house, there's a man that transitioned into a woman who's really a man but says he's a woman, and he's also living at the halfway house for women. Who do you discriminate against? The real woman feels uncomfortable because she's trying to escape a man beating the crap out of her every day, but you've got this other person over here that decided to transition who's really a man in the halfway house, next door neighbor to the gal that's trying to escape her own individual persecution and tyranny. Well then, who makes that decision? Like, who makes that judgment call? So the point I'm trying to make, I don't know if I explained it that well, but basically you're pissing on the rights of the feminists and the woman and women's rights in support of the transgender rights. Like, you can't have both. You see what I'm saying? Like, they've confused the public so much, no one even knows what side is up and what side is down. Again, no one's going to argue with women's rights. We all support women's rights. No one's going to argue with transgender rights. We all support transgender rights. We support freedom. But again, what you need to understand, this is a government operation to muddy the waters, and the transgender movement leads to transhuman movement, which again, they want every part of this idea. This is what it boils down to, that you're a human being eradicated, because they don't want you to be a human being. They want you to take the mark of Satan. They want you to worship the devil. They want you to get down on your knees, and they want you to burn in hell along with them. I mean, why do you think they're trying to escape this planet so radically? Why do you think Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Richard Branson are spending billions, if not trillions of dollars every year building rockets so they can colonize Mars and nuke it, as in their own words, so that they can live there? Right? They're trying to perpetuate their short, temporary existence as long as possible because they know where they're going. And it's a hot, hot place. So that's what's going on, and that's what the agenda is. And this is the plan of big technology, and it's why the human era is ending, and there's an overt now promotion of becoming a cyborg, and they're just rubbing it flat in your face. In fact, here's an article from CNBC. I don't know if you showed it here. We could show this to the audience. Elon Musk's brain machine startup plans human trials in the next couple of months. Elon Musk's first comments about Neuralink came just recently in 2017. Now it's looking to have its first human patient with its technology before the end of 2020. And then they lie to you and say it's going to help people with brain disorders. But the real reason they want to do it is they want to chip you. It's going to be as easy as LASIK. They say it will take a long time, this is a quote, and you'll see it coming, Musk said at Tuesday's event. So he's just letting you know, expect to get chipped. Here's another direct quote. We are aiming to bring something to market that helps with certain severe brain injuries. Stroke, cancer, lesion, congenital, in about just a couple of years. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. All of these people selling you on the idea of transhumanism and living forever, and they're going to wire your brain with a chip, and we're going to colonize Mars. It's going to be so beautiful. Still can't cure male pattern baldness. Last time I checked Jeff Bezos, he was balder than a bat. He was so bald, I could see the sweat dripping from his temple. You know, with like a nervous twitch. And you notice how he has that one eye that's a real lazy eye? It kind of looks like a cyborg. That's not a coincidence, by the way. I did tell you these people have already merged, right? That was the beginning of this broadcast. So he's got that lazy eye there. I just kind of... It's a big divorce, too, that he had. Big divorce. And no matter how much money these people have or what technology they're working with, they're still just basic apes, aren't they? And that's a compliment. I would say the same thing about myself. I'm not saying I'm any better, but we're all basically just a bunch of apes. Right? No matter how transhuman these people become in the dark corners and recesses of their Cro-Magnon, as they would describe it, evolutionary existence, seeps the darkness of just a few basic human emotions. Fear, greed, sex, self-glorification, power, subjectification of others. I mean, the list goes on, but it all boils down to the basic instincts. I mean, how else would you explain a guy like Jeff Bezos blowing $70 billion over a chick? There's no logical reason. Although I've had theories on that divorce, by the way. And I actually think the theory is a pretty good one. What do you do if your name is Jeff Bezos and you're worth hundreds of billions of dollars? And you want to keep those hundreds of billions of dollars. You don't want to see them go away. But you know, because you have deep state access and you're part of the deep state, you've got contracts with Central Intelligence Agency, which he does. That's a fact. And you know, for example, the too big to fail elites plan on imploding the entire stock market in the not too distant future. And that same paper wealth, worth hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars today, would be worth half of what it would normally be worth. But you can't sell it, dump it all at once on Wall Street. That would raise too many alarm bells. The peasants would raise an eyebrow. They'd start selling their stock too. It would start a panic on Wall Street. Hedge funds would begin selling. Analysts would start downgrading. It would be a death spiral until the stock price inevitably collapsed. If you can't do that, maybe there's another way. Maybe there's a way you could take half of your total net worth and somehow push it somewhere else. Aha! I've got it! Eureka! I'll get a divorce. That way, I can sell half of my stock, allegedly give it to my wife who's in on it from the get-go. I'll pay her off because she's a team player. We've got kids, we have children to think about, and our legacy of the Bezos family, because we plan on being the new Rockefellers and Vanderbilts. And we'll sell all the stock, and Wall Street won't raise an eyebrow, and no one will sell the holdings, and I'll be able to sell out at the top. Conveniently, I'll give that hot potato to my shareholders, and then the stock market will collapse. You think I'm kidding, but I'm not. I mean, it seems pretty obvious. Again, if I was a satanic, devil-worshipping scumbag, I'd do the same thing. Sounds like a pretty good strategy to me. So will you take the chip? Also, in other news today, a man was assaulted by an angry drunk mob for wearing a Trump hat. Just another example of thousands of examples where just because you voted for our president and just because you wear a hat that says MAGA, you'll be beat up, stomped on, punched, ridiculed, destroyed. This happened to a man after a drunk mob beat the crap out of him in a Portland bar. You know Portland, the city of peace, right? Isn't that what they call it there? The city of peace or something like that? Also, a lot of fake news. I did want to comment on this as well. There was fake news that came out over the weekend. And by the way, if you want all of my current content, all my archive videos completely uncensored, the absolute truth, just go to my website at amtvmedia.com. All of my videos are now hosted on the blockchain, which means they can't be censored ever. I love the blockchain so much. So visit my website at amtvmedia.com. Also subscribe to my newsletter. It's absolutely free. It's our direct communication link to you, our audience. Keeps you updated with all my latest videos, all of my shows, my live streams, special communications, emergency broadcasts.